Hi, my name is Obiezeadi. I'm a city councilor in Westminster, and I am also a state senate candidate for Arvada and Westminster. The number one question that I get has to do with city revenue. People ask me all the time, Obi, what do our taxes pay for? How do you forecast the revenue? Today, I'm going to answer some of these questions with a brand new Civics 101 about city revenue. I'm going to use Westminster since I am a city councilor here. But this process is generally similar across any municipality. Changes in state and federal policies, natural disasters, public health emergencies, all of these things impact city budget. We are about to begin planning for Westminster's 2024 budget. And that process begins with a 5-year financial forecast. All of the biggest revenues to our city, like sales tax, are based on discretionary choices. For example, you don't have to buy that cup of coffee. So we need mathematical models to help us understand how that demand fluctuates, particularly with things like inflation. We use what's called an econometric data-driven model, which basically means that it's a tool used by economists and other experts to analyze data related to economics. For example, imagine you are running a lemonade stand and you want to figure out how much lemonade you should make every day. So you start collecting data like the temperature each day and the number of people who walk by your stand and how much lemonade you sell. You then use these data to build a model, which is basically a set of mathematical equations. And this model tries to explain the relationship between your variables, temperature, number of people, and lemonade sales. This model can tell you things like, for each degree the temperature goes up, I sell 10 more cups of lemonade. Or for each extra person who walks by, I sell 0.5 more cups. The financial forecast for the city is a tool that we use to help us plan for the future and ensure that we are making sound financial decisions. But the forecast is not a budget. It's based on our best estimates and assumptions about what will happen in the future. To get there, we first do an economic analysis on the United States, then the state of Colorado, and then the city of Westminster. They rely on a number of data sources for the data, places like the Bureau of Economic Analysis, where we get personal income and GDP, or the Bureau of Labor Statistics, where we get employment and wages data, or the Census Bureau for retail sales and population, and so much more. The major economic indicator is US GDP, which is basically made up of all of the consumption, investments, net exports, and government spending. The consumption piece of US GDP is where we can make linkages between what impacts the consumer. So like rising interest rates, rising inflation, negative real income growth, and so forth. Those things impact the consumer. Consumption growth in the first quarter of this year was 4.2%, which is the fastest we have seen in years. Overall, we are in a slower growth environment, which is why you see the baseline forecast for US GDP pretty flat heading into 2024. The latest stat on core inflation is that it is at 4.3% year over year. National employment is another great leading indicator for us as a city because it tends to accurately predict consumption data and local employment data. 2022 was the best employment year ever in the United States in terms of the 3.7 million jobs added. But 2023 employment growth has slowed down significantly, and it's even worse in Colorado. To understand this, you have to think about a few other metrics. Colorado's population growth has fallen to be 19th fastest growing in the country. We used to be top 10. Net migration into Colorado has slowed to about only 15,000 people last year. So all of that is important because those people who move to Colorado are a source of labor. They fill our current job vacancies. We were a top 10 state for job growth for most of the last 12 years. Now we are a bottom 10 state for job growth. We're currently 48th in the country. There are lots of other metrics, but let's skip ahead to this chart showing taxable sales of the 30 largest cities in Colorado. Basically, this chart shows what Colorado as a state is collecting from all of these cities. So you can see Commerce City has the most growth. Arvada is about 4%, and Westminster is about 2%. So we see households are saving less, grappling with high inflation and consuming less. And as you can see in this chart, our total revenues in 2023 are about $193 million. And two of the biggest chunks of that are from sales and use tax and property tax. Sales tax includes the general sales tax that you pay as a shopper, right? But it also includes construction material and motor vehicle tax that you pay when purchasing a vehicle. So for Westminster, we estimate our revenue will grow at about 3.5% over the next 5 years. And this is due to an increase in property tax and sales tax, which are our largest sources of revenue. On the other side, about 70% of our general fund expenses are personnel costs, and we anticipate that will also increase. So where does that leave us? Take a look at the forecast for the US economy. Now compare that to the forecast for Westminster sales tax, which we project to increase about 6% this year. We anticipate the general fund will have about $20 million by the end of this fiscal year, which is a very financially healthy number. For capital improvements, we're going to spend $150 million in projects over the next 5 years. These are projects in things like transportation, parks and recreation, public safety, and utilities. So that's city revenue. The next step is on Saturday, August 5th, where City Council will have a budget retreat where we will help prioritize next year's budget. On August 30th, the city will deliver a proposed 2024 budget to City Council, and in September, we'll take public input on that proposed budget. And we'll end by adopting the 2024 budget in October. So, hope that was helpful. Thank you.